This is the training support video for the two-person installation or one-person installation with helper using ladders of the Ballantyne Gear Eveook non-penetrating fall protection system for residential style sloped roofs to include commercial roofs. Use as specified in the technical manual. This video does not include all instructions. A certain skill level and understanding is required to perform the procedures and techniques within this video. Many of these procedures and techniques can be learned through training, reading the technical manual, and from other training support videos at www.ballantynegear.com. For safe use, persons shall be knowledgeable and tested to show efficiency at using the gear, installing the system, and using the system on the ground before using at heights. Placed on the eave of the first side shall be a 28-foot ladder with line guides. Ladder should extend 2 to 3 feet above the roof edge for installation. Placed below the eave on the first side before installation shall include an Eveook at the base of the ladder on the right side. Anchor line with closed eye carabiner that is long enough to go over the building shall be between the Eveook and the building. A throw line cube and a throw line that is long enough to go over the building that have been prepared for this installation shall be under the eave between the anchor line and the building. Loops are on both ends of the throw line. A Ballantyne gear line thrower kit should be a few feet to the right of the throw line cube. Second side gear shall include a 28-foot extension ladder. Ladder should extend 2 to 3 feet above the roof edge for installation. No line guides needed here. For convenience though, you may want line guides on all ladders. Placed below the eave on the second side before installation shall include an Eveook at the base of the ladder on the right side with camp safety giant attached. Behind or to the left of the ladder shall include an adjustable lifeline, including a rope, carabiner, and a camp safety goblin. At least one prusik with carabiner, at least one rope/roof protector with nanobiner, and a roll of 2-inch Gorilla tape or alternate tape on an accessory loop with nanobiner. Determine the distance for a line to travel over the roof. Distance across the house or building, we'll say 45 feet, plus height of the walls, 20 feet on one side and 10 on the other, and then add a little for the extra distance caused by the pitch of the roof, maybe 10 feet in this instance, for approximately 85 feet. First installer shall open line thrower kit and assemble line thrower. Attach line thrower loop with nanobiner to black tube behind pistol grip, and then attach metal shoulder stock. Open throw line cube. Top of throw line that is under Velcro shall be towards the wall. Place water bottles or other weights in the pockets to prevent the cube from blowing away. Bottom of the throw line inserted in D-ring. First installer attaches anchor line to bottom connector hole at front of Eveook. And then orderly stacks the rope. Attach the top of the stacked rope to the bottom of the throw line, as shown. Attach top of the throw line to projectile. Installers shall pull out and stack enough throw line to go over the building. When first installer gets to the desired length of the throw line, she will add about 5 more feet for a knot, and then tie it to the side of the ladder at about waist level. A double half hitch on a bite works well for this purpose. This knot is to prevent the throw line from going too far and landing in the neighbor's pool or some other unwelcome place. The throw line is now stacked with the projectile side of the throw line at the bottom so that it would tangle if launched. Reverse the stack by stacking the throw line back into the cube as shown. First installer gets a .22 caliber blank cartridge, or 2 cartridges in case of a dud, and stores it on his or her harness or in a pocket. Installers shall place ear protection on or in ears. Installers shall attach the line thrower to the harness for carrying. A preferred method would be to hang the line thrower stock down above the user's leg and under a personal lanyard, with the line thrower loop attached to the side D-ring with the nano beater, as shown. It is preferred to launch the throw line from the ground, but launching from the ladder is acceptable when needed. When launching from a ladder, the first installer climbs first side ladder, and second installer shall hold the ladder. At top of the ladder, first installer shall place the throw line into the line guide and load a blank cartridge into the line thrower. For safe use and to avoid accidental discharge, do not load the cartridge until you are at the top of the ladder and ready to fire. When loading, if you hold the line thrower by the projectile, as shown, you won't have to worry about the projectile sliding off and falling. Aim slightly over the rooftop and launch the projectile.
Firing!
The line shall be perpendicular, plus or minus 7.5 degrees, to the first and second side, so that it can pull over the anchor line that shall also be perpendicular, plus or minus 7.5 degrees to the first and second side. Remove throw line from the line guide. First installer shall climb down the ladder, and then first or second installer shall untie the throw line from the side of the ladder. First installer shall put away the line thrower and hearing protection. Second installer shall go to the second side and pull the throw line and then the rope over the roof. To avoid tangling, keep ends of the stacks away from the stacks and stack the throw line separate from the anchor line rope. Sometimes, when the rope is being pulled, it may get caught. Usually, if you give a little slack and then a good pull, it will come over. But you might need to check and see if you forgot to remove the throw line from the line guide or if the rope or throw line are caught on something else. Once the slack is pulled out of the rope to the Evook that is on the ground on the first side, second installer shall attach his or her personal goblin as shown to the anchor line and, using the goblin, shall maintain tension in the anchor line to the Evook on the first side until the installation is complete. With second installer maintaining tension in the anchor line, first installer shall lift the Evook over his or her head next to the wall. When installing or dismantling, keep the Evook wheels towards the wall. When first installer sees that there is no slack in the rope to the Evook, installer shall leave the Evook hanging and will climb the ladder. Maintaining 3 points of contact on the ladder, first installer shall pull the rope, lifting the Evook and then placing the Evook on the side of the roof. After visible confirmation that the rope is tensioned to the Evook, installer shall communicate to second installer that the Evook is set.
Ready?
Upon confirmation from the second installer that second installer is maintaining tension to the first Evook, first installer may climb down the ladder. Second installer may now complete the installation. As a note, the second installer has not yet been on a ladder or on the roof and has not yet been at heights. If you only have one person that is trained and capable of installing, you could train a helper to be the second installer for the work on the ground that is now complete. And the first installer may assume the role of the second installer for the remainder of the installation. To start, first installer shall tensionally attach to the anchor line with their personal goblin and long lanyard, next to the second installer. Second installer may now disconnect from the anchor line, and then first installer will become the second installer. Continuing installation for second installer. Maintaining tension in the line with his or her personal goblin and long lanyard, second installer shall attach anchor line to the second side Evook using the giant, keeping wheels towards the building. Installer shall suspend the Evook slightly above the ground. loosely holding the loose rope that is coming from the giant so it can slide through his or her hand. Installer shall climb the ladder until he or she is just below the roof edge. At the roof edge, installer shall slide his or her personal goblin up the rope until it is touching the roof edge. This serves two purposes. The goblin serves as fall protection for the installer and as a gauge to show that the rope is not slipping on the roof and that the Evook on the other side remains firmly pressed against the roof edge. Installer pulls up the Evook with the rope and the giant until the giant is touching or nearly touching the goblin, and then installer moves the goblin up the roof to his or her full reach. To ensure that the rope is taut and the Evook is firmly pressed against the first side of the roof, installer shall use his or her personal goblin and long lanyard that is attached to the anchor line to pull and tension the rope. This procedure shall continue to be used until the installation is complete. At any time, the anchor line that is being installed may have moved toward the first Evook. If you're new to this or are unsure, repeat this procedure often. To place this second Evook on the roof, second installer shall grab the rope on the roof with one hand, pulling down on the rope, and with the other hand shall pull the loose rope from the giant, pulling the Evook straight up until it clears the top of the roof edge, and then pulling the Evook towards the ridge of the roof, placing the leading wheels on the roof and continuing to tension until the Evook is firmly pressed against the soffit. Let's see that again. Installer now attaches a carabiner to the goblin carabiner and then runs the loose rope through the new carabiner, as shown. Installer shall now tension the anchor line by pulling to 1 kilonewton, near the full strength of many persons, on the rope that is going into the 2-to-1 mechanical advantage. When tensioning, you may need to slide the goblin up once or more, as shown, to adequately tighten the anchor line. When the proper tension is achieved, installer shall hold the rope to maintain the tension, and then installer shall lock in the tension with the giant by pulling the lever, as shown. Let's watch that again. Remove extra carabiner. To ensure a secure connection, installer shall tie a mule overhand knot at the giant. To safely climb down the ladder, installer shall now attach their short lanyard to the mule loop coming from the mule overhand knot. Installer now removes their personal goblin carabiner at the end of the long lanyard that attaches to their personal goblin, and parks it somewhere like on the mule loop or the sternal D-ring. Installer shall remove the goblin from the anchor line and attach it to the mule tail, rope hanging from the mule knot to the ground, and then installer shall attach their long lanyard to the goblin Remove short lanyard and then descend to the ground. Second installer shall now check first side Evook to make sure it is properly attached. Before using any Evook system, personally inspect it to make sure it is properly installed and tensioned. Installers shall hang prusiks, roof/rope protectors, and if needed, Gorilla Tape or similar to left side gear loop. And then hang adjustable lifeline from right side gear loop. Installer now attaches Goblin carabiner to sternal D-ring as shown and climbs the ladder. When climbing a ladder using a Goblin for fall protection, this is how a user should attach to the lifeline with their Goblin. At the top of the ladder, the user will insert the adjustable lifeline between their long lanyard and their personal Goblin. For this procedure, user attaches to the mule loop with his or her short lanyard, and then removes the Goblin carabiner from the sternal D-ring while maintaining fall protection from the long lanyard at the ventral D-ring. When attaching or removing Goblin carabiner from sternal D-ring, if there is a fall hazard, always hold the Goblin and the lanyard in your hand, with Goblin and lanyard below the gate of the carabiner before opening the gate as shown, so Goblin cannot get free of the carabiner, putting the user at risk of a fall. User detaches personal Goblin carabiner from Goblin and parks it, maybe on mule loop or sternal D-ring. Moves Goblin from mule tail to anchor line, attaches adjustable lifeline to Goblin on the anchor line, and then attaches long lanyard to Goblin on the adjustable lifeline. User slides anchor Goblin up the roof as far as it is reasonable and then climbs on the roof. Using adjustable lifeline for fall protection, installer walks to the primary ridge, the highest ridge under the anchor line, if there is more than one highest ridge, it would be the closest highest ridge, and checks from a bird's eye view to make sure that the anchor line between the two Evooks is straight. If it is not straight, do the following. If it can be done without creating slack in the line and maintaining the Evooks firmly pressed against the soffit. Lift the anchor line and move it over as shown to straighten the line. If it cannot be done without creating slack in the line and maintaining the Evooks firmly pressed against the soffit, then climb off the roof to the ground, dismantle the Evooks, and reinstall. Assuming the anchor line is straight and appropriately tensioned, place a rope protector on the primary ridge as shown. Wrap it somewhat tight around the rope to make dismantling easier and safer. Wrapping your rope with a rope roof protector is mainly recommended for the primary ridges. You cannot travel across a rope protector with your anchor Goblin when the rope is wrapped. However, if it is on a primary ridge, it doesn't matter, since if you cross it, you will have to remove your goblin anyway to change the direction of the goblin, since the direction of the slope and the fall hazard will have changed. Attach a prusik with a carabiner next to the ridge. This prusik is to create an anchor point for a user to attach his or her short lanyard for travel restraint while transferring his or her anchor goblin from one side of a ridge or other obstacle and reattaching it to the anchor line on the other side. Attach prusik to anchor line at any point where a user may need to disconnect his or her primary fall protection to pass over an obstacle or for any other reason. This example of taping the rope/roof protector can be used on ridges and is recommended on roof hips. We generally recommend Gorilla Tape. However, it will not work if the roof is wet. A user can slide over this rope/roof protector with his or her anchor goblin. Gorilla Tape or similar may be used to protect the roof edges. Wear to the roof edge is mostly seen during dismantling of the system. User may now anchor to any part of the anchor line with his or her anchor goblin and may also move along his or her adjustable lifeline up to the distance of the lifeline rope away from the anchor line attachment. If you're climbing off the roof and plan to return, you can leave the adjustable lifeline attached to the anchor line for protection while climbing down the ladder and climbing back up. That is simple and efficient.